Hello, welcome. My name is Kirsty. Welcome to Kirsty Knits and Sews and day 9 of 12 Cast-Ons of Christmas 2025. It is currently December 4th, I believe, the day after what I finished last night. I'm here to pick a new project to start today to cast on. I have currently picked all knitting, I believe. I do have some crochet and I also have some spinning and dyeing elements of projects, and I haven't picked any of them yet. So I'm interested to see whether today will be knitting or whether one of those other ones will come out. There are also a few projects that I really hope come out and have not come yet, and a couple of others that I thought about putting in, but some of them, like I need new slippers and I have a pattern, I thought I might just make them and not try and make it part of the 12 cast-ons. So I'm going to stick with what is in this pot and I'm going to pick something out. If you're not familiar with 12 cast-ons, it's a make-on run by Ange of Young Yarns. I've linked her intro video down below. It is basically just cast on up to 12 projects between the 24th of December, this year it is the 24th of December 2024, and the 31st of January 2025. And once you've cast them on in that period, you then work on them throughout the year. I don't know how long it will take me to make all of what I have started so far. Some of them will be pretty quick and pretty easy, and some of them will be pretty easy but bigger makes, and some of them will be very complicated and things I've never done before. And that's just the ones I've already done. I've still got, what, 3 more? 4 more? Yes, day 9, so there's 4 more projects for me to start, and I'm excited to find out what they are. People approach doing the 12 cast-ons differently. I had originally planned to have everything lined up in bags ready to go, and then I decided let's embrace the random, the chaos, because I didn't have the brain space to plan all of these projects. And I'm really glad I chose that way, because there are some that I really wanted to make that I hadn't had the ability to think through, and now they're on the needles. So it has been a lot more thinking and a lot less knitting than I would have originally planned, but I'm really happy the way it's turned out. So let's pick today's project. There are still so many in here. Oh, that's 2. All right. I'm starting to get like FOMO for the ones that aren't in here. All right, let's read together. Alpine Bloom. This one is a spinning one, I think. I'm going to go look and see what I have. The Alpine Bloom is a beautiful cardigan. Not cardigan, sweater. There is a cardigan version, but it's called something different. Beautiful sweater. It's either in sport or DK, I believe. Maybe it's fingering in sport. It wasn't fingering in DK. Maybe I have the T version, which is fingering. So I should have plenty of options for the main colour. It is a short sleeve, like it is a tee. It isn't a jumper. I should have plenty of options for the main colour, because I think it'll only be 2 skeins. But I need to decide what to do for the gradient. So Alpine Bloom, I'll put a picture up, but often the colour work is done in hand spun or I've got dyed in the wool in my mind, but that's not the right one. Anyway, it's usually done, I'm completely blanking on the brand that I'm thinking of. It's the same brand as dyed in the wool, but it's a specific yarn of theirs. Anyway, it's usually done in like a slow colour changing gradient that is either hand spun or looks like hand spun. I do have some hand spun yarns. I don't have many fingering weight ones, but I do have plenty that I could spin for this project. And spinning a fingering weight yarn, if it's 2-ply, is really easy. If I do 3-ply, it's slightly harder. Like, it will take longer. It's not necessarily harder. It'll take longer. But I just have to pick the yarn. the fibre. I have plenty of fibre to do this with. I just need to choose what. And then I need to decide whether I'm going to also spin the main colour or whether I'll use a already have main colour. So this is going to be a little bit of a planning day, I think, because I'm going to have to go into my fibre stash, I will first go to my yarn stash and see if there's anything that is appropriate, but I don't think there is. Then I will go to my fibre stash and see what I have in my fibre stash that matches my 2 skeins of yarn. And then we'll go from there. So yay, there you go. I said we hadn't had any spinning or dyeing, and now I have a spinning one. What will most likely be a spinning one. But I will go look in my stash first and reimagine what may be there. Yeah, let's go. And this is my fibre chest. It is currently about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and what I've done today toward starting my Alpine Bloom tea is clean out my storage room. My craft room, storage room has been almost unable to step in recently, and so I've cleaned it out and I've brought all of my fibre over here to this chest. Not all that will fit. And I'm going to go through and figure out what I want to use as my contrast colour for the Alpine Bloom, and then I'm going to split it up and get ready to start. Now I have a few things in here that are bats, like this is a bat, so I'm just going to move that to the side, and all of these ones are scrappy bats, so I'm not going to touch them because I'm going to want to do them long draw, and that will give me a fluffier yarn. So I want to do something roving that's nice and lined up to get me a nice slim yarn, and I also want to do it a colour gradient. So these two are ones that I dyed. Sorry about the glare. They're ones that I dyed, and I've been debating whether or not I do them as a combination or just one at a time. The pink and the green are 2 separate bats. Either one would also work as a single one. Over here, these 3 would work. I think what I want now is just something that's going to be fun to spin. And I think I'm just going to pick one that is speaking to me. I only need 100 grams for the contrast colour. So any of these would work. Like that is beautiful. I don't have enough of the main colour of anything that I have. So I've decided to pick the contrast colour first. And then do the main colour after that. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe this one, because that'll... Let me get it out. So this is the yarn. You can see there's bits of green and blue and purple, but also a lot of orange and pink. And I'm thinking it may grunge down a little when it gets mixed up. It would still be majority pink and orange. One of the things I realized today, when maybe realized a bit more today, while I was trying to find fibre to start the spin for the Alpine Bloom, I was trying to find if I had any yarn that would work as the main colour. I think I found four sets of 2 fingering weight yarns. 5. One was the singles, 2 are set aside for t-shirts, and 1 set aside for a shawl. So I'm not going to do any of them. I have picked out the fibre, which I showed before and I'll show again, that I'm going to spin, and then I might dye, because I have in this box up here, I have yarn for dyeing, so I might actually dye something to go with that. Or when it's spun, I may buy something. We'll see. But I don't have something to go with it, so I just picked a bump of fibre that I thought was pretty, and I will split it up and spin it. I am trying to quickly finish plying a sweater quantity of yarn that was on my bobbins. I had plied up one bobbin. I'm now almost finished the second bobbin, so I've done that whole bobbin today, and I'm going to still have another half a bobbin or so to go after that. So I'll see how I go with getting that done and then starting the spin. Otherwise, the spin may have to wait until tomorrow, and this cast on is just going to be over 2 days. I would still cast on another one tomorrow because everything I've done today has been not knitting, and I'm sad because I miss the knitting. So if I do spinning tomorrow, I'll probably do knitting as well, just because spinning and knitting happen at different times. But I thought I would show you what I have done, because I started cleaning out my craft closet 6 months ago, and I got to taking everything down off the shelves and putting it on the floor and starting to sort through it, and then I never finished it. And it's been a mess ever since. Like this morning, I could not even walk in here. There was one spot I could put my foot, and I had to kind of jump to get to that spot, balance while I did everything, jump to get out. It was bad. So I have cleaned this today, partly so I could see if I had any quantities that would work for the Alpine Bloom, partly because I was just wanted some order in my life, and this seemed like the best way to go about it. So I'm going to show you what I've done. First of all, I want to appreciate that you can see the floor. That is right, the floor is back. Whew. All right, I had started putting everything into bags and putting it on Ravelry, and I've just given up on that. I think that was the thing that was really stopping me from organising this place, especially as I had more yarn come in from things that I'd shipped back from Australia, yarn shows, Christmas presents. I've just given up on that. I just have some boxes here for shipping because I do post things quite regularly. And down here are just little bits and bobs, bags that I may or may not use now. Some little doodads that, like tissues and stickers and permanent fabric markers. This one is not my whip. This was my grandmother-in-law's whip, the final one that she was working on before she died. And it was meant to be a sweater for my daughter that I don't think is going to fit her. So I have to decide whether or not I finish it and put it aside for if there's another grandchild, or use the yarn to make something else in her memory. So that one's sitting there in an I need to decide pile. These are all sock yarns in these two here, and these are yarn cakes that I'll probably turn into, 3 of them will be baby blankets, 1 will be a dress for my daughter. This basket here is probably the least organised right now, and that is just yarn, no particular order, just yarn. But underneath the yarn only goes to about here where these baskets finish, and underneath that is mending. So that is one of the things for my to-do list this year. These are empty boxes and empty bags. Up here we have quilts and quilt backings that need to be made, and here is all of my fabric. That is in here. There is more to come, and I'm going to have to figure out how to fit that in. I have scrappy blanket, scraps, and quilts. This one I'm hand quilting and I want to get back to that soon. Yarn for dyeing. This is hand spun and I want to say mostly 8-ply and worsted that I don't have a plan for. And then this shelf here is all fingering weight socks. Behind there, you'll get a little bit of peek, is a couple more bags of sock yarn. It's not going to focus though. And back here is, there you go, some model kits and some old sheets that I'm going to use for backings for quilts. So that's hiding back there. That shelf I have not sorted, but this is my wool winder where it's currently sitting, and these are all of my quilting sewing whips in the back. The front, this is stuff that I used to teach people if people want to learn, and the bottom few are still whips. This is all yarn scraps that I need to sort and put into here because this is where my scraps live. And then we've got some stickers and cards and things. One of my sewing baskets, which I haven't been through for a long time, and a couple of sweater quantities of yarn. These bags are prizes for my kids, so they're just sitting there waiting. And then back here we have fibre for spinning, and underneath there is wool, and that is wool for the projects that I've started in the 12 cast-ons. Because the project bags aren't that big, I've just stored the backup wool there, and then as I run out I know exactly where it is. I think I have 4 projects worth in there. This is all embroidery and cross-stitch kits. I have a lot more than I thought. Some of them I picked up from op shops, some I've got online, some have been given to me, but there's definitely a lot more than I thought. So they're sitting there waiting for me to really start doing some embroidery. Here is some paper that I've made and some bags and needles for projects when I'm ready to start new ones. And then this here, this little stack is all things to make progress keepers or ready-made progress keepers. Empty box, my, what was it called this year? Not Shawlography, not Twists and Turns. Go-Go Dynamo. My Go-Go Dynamo shawl is there, waiting still to have all the ends woven in. And this is my bag of gauge swatches that I want to do something with at some point, some extra embroidery hoops and yarn that I need to wind off for my Cozy Memories blanket because I've made something with them. Over here we have more fibre and then more yarn up the top, which are yarns with specific projects in mind. And then over here we have, this stack is mostly patterns that I need to sort through and put into a new binder. And then this is my English paper piecing stack. And then we have yarn that is for a project. And here I've started storing my current projects, my whips, to get them out of the lounge room. And so I need to figure out a way to go through and choose what I'm working on. And I will keep a few in the lounge room and then the rest will stay up here until I swap them out to work on. English paper piecing stuff at the top. And then over here, my sewing books, my knitting books have moved into another bookshelf. So there you go. A super quick tour of my craft room now that it is looking a lot cleaner. Still a lot of stuff on the floor and I've just got to sort through a few more piles on shelves to figure out exactly what is going to go where. But for right now I can get in here and my plan is to use and take out rather than buy and add in. I'm not doing some kind of no-buy thing this year. I'm not even tracking what comes in this year. I've decided I'm just going to track grams out. I will do on my next podcast video a bit of a wrap-up of what last year's stash stats were, because I did track incoming and outgoing in a few different ways. So I will, share that on my next podcast. But for now. Suffice to say that I have a lot of yarn and I want to use what I have because I like what I have. But if I want to make a specific project and I don't have something for it, like the Alpine Bloom, I'm not going to say I can't buy it, but I will try and buy 4 projects, and I will try and use my stash if there's something that I want to make rather than buying straight away. And that will be more possible with spinning as well, because I can always spin a sweater quantity because I have a lot of fibre too. So anyway, little quick tour of my stash on this day 9 12 cast-ons. And I'm going to see if I can finish plying that yarn so I can start spinning for my Alpine Bloom today. It is 8:47 p.m. I still have not managed to start my new spin, but I am getting closer to finishing the last one so that my bobbins are free so I can start. So I thought I would just show you what I have done. Today I have plied this entire bobbin. Yes, I've got a little bit of a loop there, but I have plied this entire bobbin. It's about that colour. It's quite dark. This is a 3-ply fractal spin that I have been working on for... Look, I started it not long after I got my wheel, which was March 2 years ago now, so a year and a half ago. But it's probably only been a 9-month spin, because 9 months of that I was not with this fibre. So yeah, it feels good to be getting this done. And this, I mean, for all I know, this could be tomorrow's one that I open up and it says that I'm doing the weekender, which is what this is meant to be for. But yeah, so it's beautiful, deep colours, fractal spin. This is the second bobbin, so I've put a 2 on the end because I know that it'll be a gradient, and so I want to make sure that the gradient continues. So I need to make sure that the end of this one connects to the beginning of the next one. Basically, I need to knit them in order. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm recording which one. The first bobbin is in another room and I didn't go grab it, but I have plied this entire thing today, which is pretty good, I'm gonna say. This is what I have left. And you can see they are not even. Now, 2 things could have happened. The first is I didn't weigh them. I split it up what I thought was evenly, but I didn't weigh to make sure that all the bumps were the same size, because this wasn't a 3 100 gram bumps or something like that. They were all individual colours, and so I split them up into their individual colours and then lay those colours out in order, and then did one without any breaking. One I split into 2 and one I split into 4. This is the one in 1, 2 and 4. But I didn't check to see, once I had split them up into baskets, if they all weighed the same, because I wasn't going to get into that. So I've either put a lot more into the 4 basket, or I've spun it much thinner, because this is the final one I did, and so it's possible that I've just spun it thinner. What I'm planning to do is, once one of these runs out, I will make this into a plying bracelet and ply 3-ply with this being 2 plies, and probably put that aside and use that for the sleeves, because it'll have a quicker change in the gradient, and that will make a good sleeve thing. I know this isn't actually my 12 cast on Alpine Bloom, but this is what I've been working on today. So that's where I'm at with this. This is a lazy Susan that is meant to go this way, but when I'm plying, I put it this way, and it just gives a little bit of tension and stops it all from spinning crazily. So yeah, that is where I'm up to with that. Yeah, like I said, it is 9:15 at night. I am torn between keeping on plying this or going and editing a podcast so I can put that up tomorrow. I'm probably going to go edit, not the podcast, the 12 days, 12 cast-ons think I'm going to go edit that so I can pop that up, and that will mean that I knit because I can't spin and edit at the same time. And I'll probably do that until it's bedtime and then go to bed. So, I'm not calling this a fail. Yeah, it's probably another full bobbin. I'm not calling this a fail. This is a cast on that I'm going to keep working on until I actually start spinning, and then I will let you know. But for right now, this is day 9 of the 12 cast-ons without actually doing any of day 9's cast-on, and I will be back when I actually make some progress on the spinning of that. Bye. Hello, it is January 9, a little bit after I started day 9 of the 12 Cast-Ons of Christmas, and I have finally finished playing up the sweater spin that I was trying to get off my wheel so I could start doing the new one. I will show you here. I'm just taking it off the wheel. This is the final bobbin, and that will be used for at least some of the sleeves. And this is all I have left of that spin. So a little bit of brown and a tiny bit of green. I will probably roll this onto an old toilet roll and put it in my fibre bucket, and at some point I'll do a Frankenstein skein where I just put all of my partial spins into a giant skein, ply them all together. I have a few different colours, some of that brown, some pink, some other colours there waiting. So yeah, I'll do that when I have enough to turn it into something useful. But right now, this is done, and I am going to start preparing my fibre for spinning. So I split this up for a 1-2-4 fractal. You will have seen this is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3. And I've just put a knot in the pink end, so I know that I'm starting at the pink every time I spin. And I will do one bobbin with this, one bobbin with that, and one bobbin with that, just doing them end to end. And then when I put them together, it'll be a nice fractal. Slow colour changing gradient, or colour changing gradient, maybe not too slow. This is what I had left over. When I laid it out and figured out where the colour repeat was, this was the part that was extra. And so I won't use that in this spin. I don't have a bucket or anything for odds and ends for spinning fibres, but I will start one now because I'll probably do quite a few of this kind of spin. And this I can put aside to add colour to raw lags or do a Frankenbat at some point, mix things together. So yeah, I definitely want to keep that. It's great fibre, but it won't be part of this spin. So I'm excited to get this started and to see what kind of colour changing and how quick it will be. I usually start with the biggest one first because the smaller ones just seem to go quicker. But what I do when I spin, I do have a steamer, so I could steam this and it would bloom, but then I'd have to wait until it's foreshore dry. So I just am going to go ahead and start drafting this a little bit, and we'll start to see some of that slower colour change and see what this will actually look like. But this is more just to make it easier to spin. And you can see already with that section there compared to this, how like just having that little bit of blended colour just kind of brings out more almost jewel tones, more subtle tones already than this one over here where it's still very segregated colours. Yeah, I am excited to spin this, and this here, like it's similar, I know, but this here just speaks to me so much more than this here. So I'm really excited to spin this up and see what it looks like spun. Is 10 to 2 on January 9, and I am here to wrap up day 9 of the 12 cast-ons. I started my spin. You will have seen some footage of the actual spinning, and this is how much I have left to do of the first third. I've just done the pink and the purple into the blue and just starting to touch on the green. I love how this is spinning up. I was concerned when I saw how short, here we go, how short the colours were, that I wouldn't get much definition between the colours. But I think I'm going to get enough to do a couple of rounds, or at least one round, of the colourwork yolk in each colour, which means that I should get a nice gradient effect and still get most of the colours in the yolk, because it is just for a yolk, not a full sweater. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be beautiful. It's really nice to be back spinning again, because that plying took a long time to get through the plying from my last spin. So, and it is a very different experience spinning to plying. So it is nice to do that, and it is very, very thin yarn, like you can see just a tiny bit here. Maybe that may be off camera. But just, it is very thin because I want a 3-ply fingering weight. And so each ply has to be very thin. I have it on my fastest, I don't even know what they're called now, flyer, the fastest spinning part of my wheel, and I'm still consciously slowing down what my hands are doing so that I can get enough twist into the fibre. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this going. I don't know how much I'll be able to work on this or how quickly I'll get it spun, but I weighed the bobbins of the last lot that you would have seen me finish plying today, and I think it was over 500 grams of fibre, that one, and it's mostly fingering weight, so having 100 grams of fingering weight should go a lot quicker. But yeah, I'm excited to get this going. This is for the Alpine Bloom tee, so I've got a bit of work to go doing this, and then I have decided if it does spin up at a sport weight, then I may buy the Alpine Bloom jumper pattern and sport weight yarn to go with it to make it a jumper rather than the tee. But I would rather do the tee, and yeah, I'll have to buy yarn for it or dye yarn for it either way. I would like this to be the tee, especially with those kind of summery colours, but we'll see how the yarn looks at the end, how thick it is and all that. So thank you so much for joining me for day 9 of 12 cast-ons. You will hear a little bit more about the spinning of my plying on day 10 because this is way past day 10 right now. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having fun casting on and watching Angie's cast-ons as well if you're joining her over at Yarn Yarns. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.